I'm not sure it's you. Is he sure it's me? So, welcome. Sorry, we had a pretty long closed session. We even came in early to try to get through it. So, we thank you for your patience. And then all of you look like doctors, so maybe we are patients here. So, probably too, also make sure that you're wearing your masks correctly. I see some people are wearing them under their nose. You need to wear them over your nose. We're trying to be proper with our distancing. Obviously, we can't hear, but you all look pretty good out there. So we're going to get started with this meeting, okay? So I got to get my glasses on here. Whoever invented the mask had nothing to do with glasses. So, welcome to a meeting with Ontario City Council. Anyone wishing to speak during public comment or on a particular item will be required to fill out a blue slip. And we have quite a few. I think we have like 30 on item 27. And I just want to forewarn you that everybody has 3 minutes. And if you need a translator, then that's going to be 6 minutes. So if you just do the math, we're looking at being here until long after 10 o'clock, and we do have a 10 o'clock curfew for the meeting. So we want to make sure you don't have to use 3 minutes. So we're going to make sure that we hear everybody who's coming forward on this issue. But it'll be important that you make your point, because that's really what you want to do. And also that I will have to stick very close to, I'm going to be right on top of the timer, and have to even rudely shut you down if you're not doing so. And I apologize in advance, but you do understand that 30 speakers is going to keep you here past the time that we would end the meeting and have y'all come back. We don't want to do that, right? So anyway, so your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. And then in accordance with state law, the public comment has to be within the jurisdiction of the City of Ontario. With all of that being said, our first order of business is a roll call, Madam City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor Ligon. The record will reflect that all members are present.
Okay, and we did have a closed session. Mr. Huber.
Mr. Mayor, there was no reportable action taken in closed session.
All right, then we will begin with our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Valencia. We'll have an invocation by Pastor Benjamin Barlow of the First Christian Church. Is a pastor here somewhere?
Yes.
And he needs to go to the podium now.
Everybody, please raise your right hand, put it over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor.
Good evening, everyone. My name actually is Emiliano Hernandez, and I'm here in behalf of Pastor Benjamin Barlow. And it happens to be that this is my first time, so I'm sorry if I get a little nervous. Like you said, I'm here to do the invocation to ask God to help us to conduct the business that are going to happen here in this place. So let's pray. Father God, we come before you to say thank you for the opportunity to serve the people. We shall know that nothing happens just because. You always have a purpose for everyone. I ask you, Lord, for your strength and wisdom for the members in this council of the City of Ontario. Help them to make the right decisions at the right moment, and for them to stay strong before the people they serve. Now they are initiating activities. Please, Lord, Protect them and all the ones that make possible for the City of Ontario to be open during this coronavirus and other dangerous events. Please, Lord, bless everyone in this local government community, assisting the mayor for the first responders in this council in all their proceedings for the good of all. Thank you, Lord, in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you
evening.
very much. So this does bring us to public comments, and our first speaker is Dan LaBeouf.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Dan LaBeouf from the Guardian Jet Center. At the Greater Ontario Business Council, we are shifting gears. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we have tried to stay out in front, providing the most accurate information for our business partners and working community, hosting webinars on the impact and what it might look like coming out of it. Please join our mailing list and visit us at ontario.org. Now, as we see business come back, it's time to shop local, to stay local, and most important, to stay safe. The County of San Bernardino has established a COVID-compliant business partnership program to support local businesses. All businesses that qualify will be issued window graphics. This business partner is COVID compliant, confirming proper safety protocols are in place and followed. In addition, small businesses will receive $2,500 in grant funds and gain exclusive access to purchase PPE at county cost. Applications are acceptable online at sbcovid19.com from now until August 31st or until the funding is exhausted. Along with shopping local and staying safe, we urge that you take this opportunity to stay local. With fabulous weather and long days, get creative. Find out more about your community. Look for those hidden gems right around the corner. Visit a local park, find a hiking trail, or take a stroll out down Euclid. What is the historical significance of the Ontario and San Antonio Heights Railroad Company display on Euclid? Why was it so much quicker coming down? You have driven by it 100 times. Stop. Get a picture with it. Share the experience. Post it. Expand that marketing
1 minute
platform that
remaining.
is vital to our local businesses, to our town. We have so many things, so many amazing things in our backyard. On behalf of the Board of Directors, thank you for your partnership and continued support of the Greater Ontario Business Council.
Thank you, Dan. And our next speaker is Guillermo Torres.
Hello, everyone. I'm gonna keep mine short, so to not to take up so much time. Hello, my name is William, and I would like to thank you for keeping the businesses open, at least partially for now. I would hope and appreciate if the City of Ontario quickly fully open all its businesses, so we can stimulate the economy once more. Most especially the downtown area where the library and the senior center are. Right now they're just partially open. Actually, you can't even go in. So that'd be great if you can do that. I believe this sounds a little serious, but this is what I believe. I believe this COVID-19 pandemic is a hoax. And I would hope that, and it's actually jeopardizing a lot of people as well. You know, the other day I went to a county facility and people were really suffering out there. fathers did not have money for the children and things like that. So a lot of people are hurting out there, and I like for you guys to keep that in mind. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, Guillermo. Okay, so that ends the public comments, and we'll move on to the rest of the agenda. Mr. City Manager, do you have any updated materials for us?
No, sir, we do not.
All right, then we'll move on to consent calendar. And all matters listed under consent calendar will be enacted by one motion, and unless the council would like to speak to one, or there's something from the public, nobody's here to...
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item number 23.
Okay, for a separate vote or discussion after the vote?
For a separate vote right now, so I can...
Okay, sure. So we'll pull item number 23 for a separate vote, and...
Second.
Okay, so pass the rest of the consent calendar minus number 23 is moved and seconded. And any opposition to that? Seeing none. So moved and so ordered. So then we'll pull out item number 23. Okay. So this is an item on the student representative and alternate appointments to the Recreation and Parks Commission for 2021, a recognition of the current student representatives and alternates for the year served. So, Mr. Valencia, you are on the Parks and Rec Committee, so
That's correct.
take it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of the City of Ontario and the Recreation and Parks Commission, the City Council would like to thank Jennifer Camarena of Ontario High School for serving as a student representative and Jaleesa Soto of Chaffey High School for serving as an alternate student representative for the past year. Both Jennifer and Jaleesa added a value to their service on the Recreation and Parks Commission as a voice for the youth and teens in our community. We thank you for being such good role models. They had a lot of valuable input at the meetings and gave everybody a different perspective at what our youth was asking for so that we can actually make great decisions for the future. At the June 22nd Recreation and Parks Commission meeting, the Recreation and Community Service Department held a recruitment and presented 2 teams for the commission to decide who to appoint as a student representative and alternate for the 2020 year and through 2021. The Recreation and Parks Commission recommends Ontario resident Emily Bravo, unfortunately she cannot be here tonight, of Montclair High School as the student representative, and April Escobosa of Ontario High School as the alternate student representative. With the mayor's permission, I'd like to make a motion to approve the recommendation of the student representative and alternate representative for the 2021 year.
Are any of them here?
I believe our
This one, right here.
outgoing and
I don't recognize you without your masks. I mean, with your masks. I'm kidding. So, would you come up to the podium and introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Abril Escobosa. I'm the new alternative student representative. And
Yeah, yours is working about as good as mine.
It's okay.
Yeah, just kind of do that until it's again.
my name is Abril Escobosa, and I'm the new alternative student representative for this year.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your service and in this capacity, and thank you for being available for us. We need you. You know, you're the next generation, and this is your entry, at least as far as I know, into the world of governing at some level, and I think it's going to be a great experience. So thank you for being here too. So Ruben, do you have anything else to follow up with?
Yes, actually, welcome aboard, and we look forward to your valuable comments, and we really appreciate everything that you're going to provide for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also have a couple of
For
the outgoing, and I believe they're here. I was told they were going to be here.
one is here.
Jennifer Camarena?
No.
Yep, there she is.
Why don't you go ahead and go
So-
down and let and present it to him. Deb, did you want to go down too? No, I just wanted the second. Okay. we'll do that in a minute.
The COVID.
Yeah, right. Helen, you want to come closer? Yeah, I know. It's like you don't know what to do or not to do, or I can't even breathe when I'm talking. It's to get through this mask.
Thank you.
Was that one that Okay, so actually we still have to go through with the vote. So it's been, item number 23 has been moved by Councilmember Valencia, second by Mayor Pro Tem Parada. Any opposition to that?
None.
Seeing none, so moved and so ordered. It takes us to our public hearings, item number 27, Madam City Clerk.
Thank you. This is a public hearing to consider an appeal of the Planning Commission's decision to approve a development plan to construct a 6,870 square foot industrial building and a conditional use permit to establish and operate a towing service business on 3.1 acres of land located at 580 East Belmont Street. Notice of public hearing has been duly given. Affidavits of compliance are on file in the Records Management Department, and we have 3 written communications which are at your seats, 1 in favor and 2 opposed to the project.
Okay, and this is where it's going to take us a little bit of time. And I didn't explain also for those who are maybe listening in another room, or those of you who are here, is that if this is your first time speaking here, our city clerk will give you a 1 minute remaining warning. And don't let that interrupt you. Just understand that there's 60 seconds ticking off the clock. Okay? So that's all that means. She's not trying to interrupt you, but just trying to let you know you have 60 seconds left. Then I'll raise my hand when you got 10, if I have to. Hopefully I don't have to, because as I said, we do have a lot of speakers. I want to talk to you a little bit about the nature of a public hearing, and the pastor who was here to pray said that he was nervous, and I don't want you to be nervous, because it's an informal. It's supposed to have the nature of informality. When the community comes to speak to their city council, they shouldn't be speaking up to us. They should be speaking to us, and we should be speaking to you, not down to you. Do you understand? You know what I mean? And we have striven in the years that we've been here to make sure that our community is one with us, not anyone below us. So that is something that I really want to bring to your attention. And in some cases, the formal rules of evidence and discovery do not apply. I mean, so somebody may say something, and the reality is, excuse me, gentlemen, but you really need to take it outside if you're going to talk when I'm talking. The reality is, if someone is saying something, it's truly stated by them, but it's not always a statement of truth. You know, it just isn't always that way. So there are some things that can be said, and there really isn't a rule of evidence or discovery in these conversations, unless they have something to prove it. The city clerk will be recording all of these, though, and there will be an audio recording of this. If you are worried about being recorded on audio or even video, because this is being videoed, then take that into consideration. This is also a quasi-judicial hearing. So we have a fiduciary duty to hear the issue and judge as council members before you everybody's rights in not only the those who are against the project, but those who are for the project. And I know for myself, I'll reserve to speak for myself later that the facts speak loud in this quasi-judicial hearing for me. So I'd like to ask our city manager to bring us to the beginning of this. It's important that we hear the facts of the case as to why we are here from the city's perspective, not from anyone who is uncomfortable with the project or who desires the project, but why at this point has the Planning Commission and the city come to this place to where this project is before the City Council. So there's actually a report that we have, and at this time, Mr. City Manager, would you like to direct your staff?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. This is an appeal hearing, a de novo hearing, and so as you had indicated, we will open that public hearing with your permission, and in doing so, commence with a brief staff presentation from our Development Agency Executive Director, Mr. Murphy, who will be presenting the overview of the proposed project by the applicant, and then Mayor, once you have that presentation, you may want to describe for the public the process by which you will take testimony as part of this de novo hearing. Mr. Murphy.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, in June of 2018, the applicant submitted an application to develop the 3-acre property at the southeast corner of Sultana and Belmont as a tow yard. The proposal includes a 6,870 square foot building located at the southeast corner of the site, with the balance of the property being used for guest parking and vehicle storage. Site access will be taken from Belmont Street with an emergency access provided off of Sultana Avenue. As a tow yard, a conditional use permit and development plan are required to be reviewed and approved by the Planning Commission. On May 26th, the Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on the application. After receiving public comment on the application, the Commission voted 5-1 to approve the project. The application was subsequently appealed to the City Council. In their appeal, the appellant outlined 8 issues that they had with the Planning Commission's action. The first issue dealt with inadequate noticing. The appellants believe that the residents who reside outside the 300-foot radius should have been noticed about the hearing, and that because the neighborhood has a high percentage of renters, they too should have been noticed about the hearing. From the city's perspective, our noticing requirements are identified in our development code and are also consistent with state law. We provide notices to property owners within 300 feet of subject property. As a result, no tenants were notified of the public hearing at that time. Those notices were sent out in English. Prior to the public hearing notice, however, there were mailers that were sent out to the neighborhood on April 22nd, also in English, and on May 4th, sent out in Spanish, advising the property owners of the application for the tow yard. The appellants also identified the lack of an in-person meeting as being an issue for them. Unfortunately, the meeting with the Planning Commission occurred in May, at which time we were using virtual meetings, in this case Zoom, to conduct our meetings, consistent with the governor's executive orders. We did, however, have a number of alternative communication methods available, including email, voicemail, and there were even a few individuals in the community that were allowed to speak during the Zoom meeting. The second area of concern was one of safety related to traffic impacts. As the site is currently vacant, any development of the site is going to generate more traffic. The extent of the trips generated are going to be a function of the use that's ultimately developed on the property. The existing tow yard that the applicant has generally sees 8 to 12 tows per day, usually 2 pickups of vehicles per day, and then there are the trips associated with the employees. So roughly speaking, we're looking at about 40 trips per day, anticipated with the tow yard. We also looked at other uses of the property, and the trip generation would be higher. We looked at manufacturing use of the property, we looked at warehouse, even looked at some residential uses, and all of those uses would be significantly higher than the 40 trips anticipated. Our engineering department also looked at the trip generation and what impact that might have on the adjoining streets. With 40 trips anticipated, it would have a negligible impact on the existing street system. Also, while the business does operate 24 hours a day, the business office is only open 8 to 5. So any pickups by others of their vehicles would have to occur between those hours. And also, Phillips Street will be widened to its ultimate width, and sidewalk improvements will be provided along Belmont, Sultana, and Phillips. And as indicated earlier, the sole accesses to the property for the public would be off of the Belmont Street to the north, as well as for the commercial vehicles coming in and out. The third item identified has to do with health concerns. And more specifically, the proposal that the project is in conflict with grants that have been received by the city. The city has been a recipient of a number of grants from Kaiser Permanente, the TCC grant, and some active transportation grants. These grants are intended to provide improvements in the community to help reduce our instances of obesity, diabetes, chronic heart disease by providing pedestrian and bicycle improvements and also programs for the community. These grants, while important, have no bearing on specific land use decisions, particularly pertaining to properties with long-standing zoning designations. The fourth area of concern from the residents and the appellant was one of crime. They were concerned that the project would attract additional homeless to the area, that there would be an increase in break-ins, and we'd see angry people outside the tow yard coming to retrieve their impounded vehicles. As we all know, homelessness is a statewide issue. We continue to hear about it more and more. But one of the things that we can point to within the city is that we are proactively addressing the homeless issue. We have a continuum of care that provides opportunities for those who want help to find help in getting off the streets. From a security standpoint, the tow yard will be surrounded by an 8-foot fence or block wall. There will be security provided on site during working hours, and the site will also be equipped with surveillance system and a security alarm system. Issue number 5 surrounded air quality. Residents were concerned about pollution from trucks in the area. The tow yard operates 3 clean diesel trucks, which are certified in compliance with the California Air Resources Board. There are no semi-trucks used with the use. The project itself is consistent with the city's general plan and EIR. It's consistent with our climate action plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. It's also consistent with the air quality management plan, mainly because of the limited size of the project. It will not conflict or obstruct implementation of any of these plans. There will, with any project on the site, be short-term impacts to air quality related to construction. Through dust, erosion, just the grading of the site is going to generate those types of impacts. Generally, with any development, best practices are used to reduce dust and erosion from the site, watering down the property to keep the dust under control, and making sure we're not having runoff from the property. Our next area of concern was one of noise. The residents were concerned about the noise levels from the tow yard and the truck wash area. As I've mentioned, there is an 8-foot block wall that would be provided around the majority of the property. This will help to mitigate some of the general noises coming from the site. With respect to the truck wash area located at the southeast corner of the site, a noise study was prepared and indicated that the noise generated from the truck wash facility would not exceed 59 decibels. This is below the 65 decibel provision allowed within residential zones during the day. Item 7 had to do with fire hazards relative to the 1,000-gallon above-ground tank, gas tank that was proposed at the southeast corner of the site. The tank itself is located over 100 feet from the closest residence. And of course, the block wall is there between the residence and the tank to help mitigate any impacts with that. The fire department has reviewed the preliminary plans for the tank. They indicated that final approval still needs to go through a building plan check process with the city's building department. Also, final approval from the fire department, both at the city and at the county levels, and will require permitting from the South Coast Air Quality Management District. And our final issue was number 8, relative to zoning. The residents understand that the site is zoned for light industrial uses, but note that the majority of the property surrounding the project site is residential. They indicate that the tow yard is not the best use of the property, and they would like the city to consider rezoning the property to low-density residential. The property itself has been zoned industrial since 1947. The general plan identifies the property as industrial, as are the properties to the north and to the southeast. The property to the east is designated for single family, but has an industrial overlay over the top of it. And what that means is that the long-term plan for that area would be to merge to industrial as those blocks and properties are acquired. The property to the south is low-density residential, and the property to the west is low-medium density residential. The light industrial designation is intended to provide a buffer between heavier industrial users and the residential properties. Within the light industrial category, there are 2 types of uses, those that are permitted and those that are conditionally permitted. Uses that are permitted by right means that there is no discretionary action required. It means that essentially a business can come in with plans that are compliant with city standards and obtain their approvals without a public hearing. Examples of these types of uses include some types of manufacturing uses, wholesale uses, gasoline fueling stations, warehousing, and automotive, light truck, and van repair. Conditionally permitted uses are those uses that do require approval at a public hearing, and in which conditions can be applied to the project to ensure compatibility and or mitigate impacts to adjacent properties. Examples of conditionally permitted uses include manufacturing uses such as paint and powder coating, soap and cleaning compound manufacturing, would include machine shops, contractors with outdoor storage yards of equipment, retail sales of truck trailers, auto body and paint, and as we've seen tonight, a tow yard. That generally addresses the 8 items that have been provided in the appeal. It is staff's recommendation that the council conduct a public hearing on the matter, and after deliberating, considering all issues associated with it, there are really 3 options that are available to you. The first would be to uphold the Planning Commission's decision approving the conditional use permit and development plan. The second option would be to overturn the Planning Commission's decision and deny the conditional use permit and development plan. And the third option would be to refer the conditional use permit and development plan back to the Planning Commission for further consideration and community input. Once the council has reached that consensus, the appropriate thing would be to direct staff to prepare a resolution incorporating the appropriate findings and formalizing the decision to come back to you on the consent calendar at your next regular meeting. With that, that would conclude my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, it looks like Councilmember Wapner is...
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't locate the actual CUP in the backup. I see all the standard conditions of approval. Can I get a copy of the actual conditional use permit and the conditions being placed? Or just point it out in the backup and I'll look for it?
Do you have something that you're specifically looking for to help?
No, I just want to see, I want to see what conditions are included in the CUP.
Okay. Let me pass this up.
I mean, we're supposed to either be approving or denying a CUP, but it'd be nice to see the CUP.
can't see. Well, while we're waiting for you, is there anybody else have any comments that they'd like to ask staff about this? So when we open up the public hearing and get into it, there's some comments you'd like to make, okay?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Councilman Wapner, in the Planning Commission backup, on page 42, attachment A is the file, CUP Department Conditions of Approval.
But those are just standard conditions of approval they do on every project. There should be a conditional use permit that we're approving that has specific conditions for this particular approval.
The conditions that you see include both standard and special conditions for the project. So it's all encompassing. It's not just the standards.
So just submitting plans and all that, that's part of a conditional use permit? Isn't that what all buildings are required to have?
As you go through, you have a list of standard conditions. You have specific conditions that speak to the time constraints, obviously, the conditions of approval, the landscaping that needs to be installed, issues with wall heights, site lighting.
So you're asking about the variances to the conditions?
I'm asking what would be specific to this project that isn't usually applied to any other project? I mean, is there, to have a CUP, you need some means to enforce it. Unless you know specifically what's in there, how do you know how to enforce it?
We're not seeing the planning commission's CUP.
I want to see specifically what was approved by the Planning Commission.
It's in the backup material.
It's not.
Well, I think what, if I might, Alan?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just trying to simplify his question. I think what he's trying to say is if you have the use and then you have conditions to the use, what are the conditions that had to be complied with in order to use this? Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, as I'm looking through this, site lighting is something that's required of every building. Mechanical and rooftop equipment has to be shielded from all buildings. I mean, specifically, what can I pull out of here that's specific to this project that the Planning Commission felt fulfilled what they needed fulfilled to grant a CUP? I mean, usually there's like a CUP that lists specific things just for that business.
Well,
like operating hours, that kind of stuff.
Sure. If you look at, it would be page 47, section 2.15, additional requirements.
So the additional requirements are in fact the actual conditional use permit.
Those would be additional
the
requirements
conditions of the use.
Beyond,
yeah.
Specific to this project, correct.
Okay, so then, Mr. City Attorney, if we were to ask our code enforcement department to enforce the CUP because there's been a violation, they would have to remove something out of the standard conditions of approval and enforce that? Is that how it would work?
Basically, yes, as I understand your question. What throws me is you said they would have to remove something from the additional requirements. They could simply reference the additional requirements in 2.15, in 2.15. Code enforcement could reference the approval of items of all of the items in 2.15. Let me just give you as an example. Item G says a minimum of 16 on-site parking spaces shall be provided. If code enforcement went there and they only had 12, then code enforcement could actually cite to this CUP, cite to that item, and issue a citation.
Is that requirement different than another business that would be similar, or is it the same?
No, it is unique to this business.
Is it more or less than what we normally require?
Depends on the use.
That I don't know.
I mean, it's difficult. They're being required to use anti-graffiti paint, and we do that on all buildings. You have to go through plan check. We do that with all plans. I mean, what kind of a CUP is that to say you must go through planning department for plan check? You see what I'm saying? I don't know exactly.
Let me give you one that is absolutely unique to this one. Item P as in Paul, All tow truck vehicles entering and maneuvering towed vehicles on site shall turn off the truck's backup beeper or vehicle's backup alarm. That's unique to them. That's not going to be on any other traditional CUP. I'm not aware, and I will give you the caveat, I have not looked at all of them, but I'm not aware that any other CUP includes that specific item.
Okay, so requiring a business license, everyone does, and even the one you're pointing out doesn't make sense because they're a police tow, which means that they have a rotation every 5 weeks. So it's a minimum of 10 weeks, not 2 weeks, that they would be open 24 hours a day. So why was this application accepted knowing there's a glaring error in that? And why were the people led to believe that they'd only have to worry about 24 operation for two weeks?
I think there was simply a misunderstanding of what the 24-hour operation is.
How's there a misunderstanding? It's 24 hours in a day, and they're there 24 hours.
Understood.
And if you're on a police franchise and you have to be available 24 hours a day, unless they only want to do 2 weeks of police rotation, then we'll just give the rest to the other tow operators. So, I mean, I guess that's the question, Scott, is you see something that you know is not going to be enforced. You know that there's a condition of approval in there that's currently being violated and is going to continue to be violated. Why would we put that in there? So essentially now we issue the CUP today, tomorrow they're shut down because they're not obeying the CUP. I mean, is that true?
Conceivably, yes.
Okay, well, let's approve it the way it is and we'll shut them down tomorrow. I mean, we know that any tow that contracts with the city does more than 2 weeks a year. We would need 25 tow companies to only do 2 weeks a year per company. So I guess I'm just confused by the fact that, I don't know if this was a representation by the applicant or is this something staff inserted in there? I don't understand it. And I don't understand how it can be a condition of approval. Just seems to me it's flawed.
Well, I think that's gagging on a gnat myself, because the reality is, if you're rotating once a month, or every 5 weeks, that's even more than once a month, or less than once a month, how many weeks in a year are you talking about being open for 24 hours? It's still not something that you would say no. I mean, if you have to write it differently there, then write it differently there so that the community and the business owner can know the truth and make Mr. Wapner happy. But the reality is, we're looking at, is this going to negatively impact the neighborhood to the point of where you would say absolutely not, because it is now, we were looking at, there's 12 months in the year, so you're looking at 10 weeks a year. 10 weeks a year, separated by 5 weeks in between, or 4 weeks in between, that you're may or may not be negatively impacted by a 24-hour service that has other yards in the city. They don't have to go there. You could even say go somewhere else. But, I mean, it's kind of a nitpicky thing that's going on here. If we want, I mean, I can find 100 reasons why not to do a lot of different deals in the city. But when I do that, I want it to be a very good reason, not looking for a reason.
Mr. Mayor, they're operating 5 times longer than what they supposedly requested.
Yeah.
So if we approve this as is, they may only operate 2 weeks a year, 24 hours a day, because that is the condition that they have approved to be included in the CUP. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's fine.
Scott,
Thank you.
I have a question, Scott.
Hold on a second, and then right after that. So then fix that. Fix that and tell the people the truth. I think that is a valid issue. That's why we have these meetings, folks, so we can dredge this stuff up. It may not even be the only issue. I mean, other people are going to bring up issues, but if I personally attack every issue that came to the city, I can find something in everything to stop it. But I want to find good reasons to keep good things, or good reasons to end bad things, not just anything. So, Mr. Valencia.
Yeah, Scott, I want to add to my colleague Wapner's comments about the 24-hour operation. I've been a deputy sheriff for 30 years and have dealt with tow companies for over 25 of those years being on the street. I've never, ever, ever experienced a tow company that operated between the hours of 8 and 5 or whatever it says in there exactly. And going beyond that, I'm fully aware that a lot of these tow companies, I think Pepe is included, they actually have contracts and agreements with CHP, Chino Hills, the city of Chino Hills, plus the county area. Plus, I believe Pepe's and a lot of the other tow companies deal with freeway service patrol, so that those operations that they have, and then they also conduct business as a private party impound, PPI impounds, which is another 24-hour operation. So, with that being said, to my colleague, Mr. Wapner, I don't understand how a tow company can say that they're going to operate just a couple of weeks or multiple weeks around the clock, because if somebody is going to have their car towed, they have the ability to go and pick up that car. That's part of the operation. Somebody can go in and they will provide somebody to pick up that car at any hour. So was that ever taken into consideration?
In just speaking with staff, what they're telling me is that the tow yard itself operates 24 hours a day, but the office is 8 to 5. You cannot come into the yard at any hour of the day and pick up your car. It must be between 8 and 5. And so we can certainly have the applicant who's here, speak to that directly, but that's the way it's being explained to me is you can only pick up between 8 and 5.
Okay, but the other thing about them contracting with other companies, PPIs and all that kind of stuff, that's a 24-hour operation, correct?
What I'm being told is that their operation itself is they have tows that respond 24 hours a day.
Okay, so the public needs to know that tow trucks will be operating in and out 24 hours a day, right?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
So are we ready for the public to speak? And just want to remind you that we have a lot of speakers, and we are here to hear all of you. And so you have to be respectful to the time, because we do have quite a few speakers. And so I'm going to open the public hearing.
Mr. Mayor, it would be appropriate first to hear from the appellant.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
And then from the project applicant before we
Thank you.
hear from the public.
Thank you. I actually, because of all the going back and forth, I thought we were further along in this process. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and invite the appellant, which is Daniela Ortega and Selena Lopez, to provide evidence and testimony on their behalf of this item.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Selena Lopez. Daniela Ortega was not able to make it. She has clinicals. She's studying to be a nurse, so she's not able to make it, but she is looking at us through YouTube or live stream or wherever you're looking at us through, Daniela. So I'm sorry about my daughter, but she's always at my hip.
Don't worry about it. That's great. That's great.
So how much time do I have? 3 minutes, 10 minutes?
No, I want to hear you out.
Okay.
I don't want to.
So and I've been looking at the agenda and I saw city staff, and I live on Archibald Ranch. So this project is not affecting me, right? But it's affecting many, many people in the Belmont and Sultana area. And I used to live off of Park and Fern, right by the railroad tracks. And I know what it is to be living in an underserved community, somebody who doesn't understand culturally Zoom, internet, where you say, I have internet, but it's for my children. It's not really for me. I don't even know how to use it. I understand we all are going through a pandemic. It was a wrench thrown at all of us. All of us had to adapt. All of us had to adapt, either through work, home, and we're still adapting. And I know city staff had to adapt, to some of the processes, that we all had to follow here. And I appreciate everybody's hard work. And I want to really take the time, because we don't have a lot of time, there's a lot of us wanting to talk, to really address to the community, if you're hearing me, si me están escuchando. I know that there's another room and I don't know where the camera here. But
excuse me, Selena, stay on the mic. The
okay.
camera's here.
Okay.
They'll see you back there.
Got it. Okay.
They won't hear you when you turn around.
Okay, got it. So I just want to address to the community then, because they're here. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming, because I know that this was hard for you. Some of you guys, this is the first time for you guys to come and you guys were nervous. Y tenían mucho miedo venir aquí. Y a lo mejor tienen miedo caminar de para acá y aquí a hablar. Pero no tengan miedo. Estoy muy orgullosa de ustedes por nomás venir a hablar de este proyecto. So I'm very proud of you guys just to come, to take the time to come for your first time and defend what this project is about. So this is not about Selena. This is about your project. Es de su proyecto. Es su vecindario. Es su comunidad. And so I want you to basically shine tonight. This is about you. This is not about me. And council is here to hear your heart, your thoughts, and why you don't want a tow yard in your neighborhood. ¿Por qué no quieren una compañía de grúas en su vecindario? Yo sé por qué yo no quisiera una. I know why I wouldn't want one. I have a 2-year-old. I know that you guys have grandchildren, and you guys wouldn't want a tow yard, a tow truck going up and down the street. And although this is light residential, if you walk the neighborhood, you will see that at least 3/4 of that is residential. And speaking to Señor Luis, I don't know if you made it, Señor Luis, said, yo quiero hablar con el mayor. I've been here for I don't know how long, and I do not want this in my neighborhood. I don't know if he made it. I hope you did, Señor Luis. Espero que se haya venido, pero si no, su hijo o alguien que haya venido por usted. So this is their time. I think I've been here at the last city council meeting. I've been at planning commission meetings, and I've addressed as to why I don't want a tow yard. Nothing personal against Pepe's company. Nothing personal. This is not about you. This is not about Pepe's towing. This is about the site project and why the neighbors don't want that here. So in that, I want to turn it to the community, for the community to really address why they don't want this project in their neighborhood. We could go on and on about facts. I think that we address both sides, and you have them in front of you. But I think that I want you to listen to your community. This is who I really want you to listen, because like I said, I don't live there. You guys don't live there. This is their community. Well, you have a church by there.
There.
So I want them to really come and for you guys to really hear them out. This is about them. It's not about me. So I want to also, though, address a situation, well, not a situation, but, Planning Commission last week, similar project. I already talked to staff about this, but similar project, the church project, and Planning Commission decided to push or postpone that project because of COVID. That option did not happen with this particular project. Also, when the community requested that 300 feet was not enough notice, within the project, they expanded the notices to 1,000 feet and gave a notice to 1,000 feet for the church project. And this did not happen to this particular project. So look at that as well. So I'm a big believer, if you're going to follow the rules across every project and do everything the same, not do it for one project and not do it for the other. Okay? So with that, I thank you. I hope that you listen. Espero que los escuchen a nuestra comunidad y que de veras se toquen el corazón. You touch your heart and you really listen to them as to why they really don't want this tow yard. Again, nothing against Pepe's. I think that we welcome any business in Ontario. I think that is just not that one in that neighborhood. Thank you.
Is there anything else? Anybody have any questions that you'd like to ask? Okay.
No.
Well, I just want to tell you, Selena, that I think that we need champions like you in the city. I really do. And I think that we need to have people who will, back up the community and stand up for them. I really do. I think you're awesome. I want the community also to have all of the facts, and that's why I'm going to make this hearing last as long as it takes, so that we can have all of the facts, so that people in the community can know every last detail, including us. As you see already, some of the details, some of the devil got lost in the details.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so we want to make sure here that we hear everything, and make sure that when we talk about the community is fully informed and about the positives and negatives, and who they can come to without feeling like they're I don't want anybody standing right there and thinking that they are in any way, shape, or form nervous.
Absolutely. And you know what? They might have a full-on conversation with you in the parking lot, but they're going to be shaking coming in this mic, and their voice is going to crackle, and not everybody likes to speak in front of people. And that's okay, and that's what I tell them. It's okay. We're nobody to judge. I'm nobody to judge. Just speak from the heart and speak what matters to you. And if you're opposing and you don't want this tow truck, in your neighborhood, just say that. Period. Because the council should hear you. The mayor should hear you. And yes, absolutely, the facts should be taken into consideration. Again, I work with nonprofits. I've worked with elected officials. I've worked with consultants. I've worked with everybody. And so it's important that you understand all sides and understand everybody, understand community, understand how the public works, how council works, how, the legality of everything works. You have to understand that. But there's a fine medium to everything. And I'm so sorry about my 2-year-old. But at the end of the day, you know what? There's people, and there's people that have invested years living in those homes, and maybe there's some tenants there, but they contribute to this community and making it better. And that's what we want. We want people who believe in their community, que creen en su comunidad, y que quieren estar aquí, quieren estar presente. Like I said, some of them have not ever been to a city council meeting before, and they're here. That means that they're engaging. That means that they want to do something. That means that they are believing in you, our elected officials, to do something in their behalf.
Well, we're gonna hear from a lot of people, and thank you for coming forward. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Obviously, it's time to discuss this, and so I'm going to open the public hearing and give all of these good folks an opportunity. It is 20 to 8. If we go full term on all of these, we'll be here until 10, and then maybe beyond. You never know.
Hey, we could always Uber pizza or something.
Okay,
All
so
right,
thank you. Thank you very much. Nobody has any questions for it, right? Okay, so we're going to move on to...
Now would be an appropriate time to hear from the project applicant, sir.
Right. We're going to invite the project applicant to come forward and give any testimony or speak to the item.
If you set them up facing the council, all the testimony you'll hear tonight is for the benefit of the council. Is there anything you want them to see and to show?
While they're speaking, good evening, Mr. Honorable Mayor, council people, staff, and audience. We brought a licensed translator, and I would like to speak to the Hispanic attendance in Spanish, please, if you would allow me to. Thank you. Do we have a mic? Okay, thank you. Buenas noches, paisanos, alcalde, concejil y personal y la gente que está entendiendo.
I can speak simultaneously if you like, just speak slow.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Buenas noches a todos, señor mayor, el alcalde aquí de la ciudad.
He spoke in Spanish, and now you're speaking in Spanish. One of you choose one of the languages.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. So good evening, Mayor, councilmen, staff, everybody.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor.
Yes,
As an old sound man, I'm going to teach you something.
yes.
The microphone is, you speak straight into it. It's not an ice cream. You speak straight into it.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
And close, especially with the mask on.
Okay, that's
There you
fine.
go. Okay, thank you.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Ok. Le agradecemos a los consejiles que hablaron tocante unos cuestiones que tenían sobre las condiciones de aprobar el proyecto.
We appreciate all the councilmen to talk about and discuss all the objectives about the projects that we're trying to do.
I'm so glad that Councilman Wapner, perdón.
No.
Lo doy gracias.
Can I interrupt you, sir? You know,
Yes.
really, I think you should probably do it that way.
If I can, Mr. Mayor, I would like to speak to the Hispanic community in Spanish. Gracias.
It's up to you.
Gracias.
Because you're speaking to the council.
Yeah, but-
Probably,
Okay. I'll do this part in English and then the rest too.
yeah.
That's be fine. I want to thank you, council people, for addressing the items, because I myself observed one that's not correct. We tow all types of vehicles for all types of law enforcement agencies. And I seen on there that it says no semi-trucks. And that is not correct. We do big rig towing as well. So you will have, semi-trucks going to the yard as well. There's a lot of commercial semi-trucks in the area on the freeways. So we will be servicing those calls.
Muchas gracias al concejal, a toda la comunidad, a toda la gente que trabaja aquí para la ciudad. Le agradecemos que hayan puesto atención a los objetivos, a lo que están proponiendo y están ustedes rechazando, pero yo noté una cosa de la cual están diciendo de que una de las cosas que no se van a manejar en la yarda es de que no se van a manejar que sí se van a manejar, pero en las formas que tenían ahí habían dicho que no se iban a incluir. Pero yo les quiero corregir diciéndole que sí se va a incluir eso, porque manejamos remolcando camiones que son muy pesados, muy altos, y se va a usar este servicio durante cuando se abra, si es que se llega a abrir este proyecto o aprobar el proyecto.
Also, as Councilman Valencia mentioned, it is a 24-hour, 7 days a week, but the vast majority will be on our 5-week rotation, and that's the purpose of having a yard in Ontario.
Y la razón por la cual se quiere abrir esta yarda para remolcar los carros se va a hacer haciendo el servicio las 24 horas. ¿Las 24 horas qué más?
7 días a la semana.
7 días o 7 days a week. 7 days a week. 7 días a la semana.
So with that, I would like to translate or speak in Spanish now to the Hispanic community with your permission, unless you have some questions.
Ahora les voy a hablar a toda la comunidad, si me lo permiten, en español. Al menos que alguien tenga alguna pregunta.
Go ahead.
Okay. Paisanos, buenas tardes y gracias por tomar el poder y la energía de venir aquí a su ciudad con sus líderes.
Good evening, my people. Thank you for coming to talk to the City Council, and hopefully they can hear you.
Pepe's Towing es una empresa donde los fincadores de ella somos inmigrantes del estado de Sonora, México, en Los Ángeles.
La compañía de
In English.
Sorry. English, Spanish. Okay. Pepe's Company, we are a company that we originated from Sonora, Mexico. And
From the LA area.
we are from the LA area. And that's where we originated the towing service.
Y los principales, mi madre y padre, que en paz descanse, la fincaron muy humilde y sacrificadamente.
And the originators of this towing company, the ones that started the business, was my mom and my dad, with a lot of humility, and they were the ones that started the whole business.
And sacrifice.
And then a lot of sacrifice on their part as well.
Y con eso les queremos agradecer que tienen el valor de hacer preguntas para contestarlas aquí, para que estén satisfechos con el proyecto.
And with that, we thank you for coming so that you can let your voice be heard, and so that hopefully the council members can address your questions, and hopefully you will be at peace with their answers as well.
Cuando Pepe's Towing con su compañía Cuatro Hermanas aplicó para este tipo de permiso,
When Pepe's Company applied for a permit,
usó mucha recursos en prepararse para una buena sitio donde va a ubicar este tipo de negocio.
they used a lot of resources to find the right place where this would take place.
Trabajando con nuestro manejador del proyecto y los oficiales de la ciudad que hicieron muy buen trabajo.
Working with the manager and also the city workers, they did a great job.
Llegamos a un acuerdo que era una aplicación muy limpia y muy positiva para la comunidad.
We agreed that it was a clean application and that it was a good thing for the community.
Tenemos 2 años en el proceso desde que aplicamos.
We have 2 years since we started this whole process.
Y ha habido muchas conversaciones para atrás y para adelante, cambios, arreglos diferentes para darle satisfacción a los requisitos que pide la ciudad, que van de acuerdo con las necesidades de la ciudad y de los ciudadanos.
There's been a lot of resources that we have used. We have gone back and forth, working hard to come up with this project.
Y nos da mucho gusto que se hizo una serie de preguntas, 8 preguntas.
And we are happy that there were a total of 8 concerns or 8 questions that need to be addressed.
Y otra vez el personal volvió a hacer otra explicación más en detalle.
And again, the staff made a great report, a detailed report.
para darle buena solución a las preocupaciones de los residentes.
To address all the worries that the residents have.
Mi nombre es Manny Acosta.
Mi nombre es Manny Acosta.
Yo soy uno de los principales de esta empresa, a sus órdenes.
I am one of the principal owners of this project, to your service.
Les garantizo que van a estar muy contentos con las fotos que ven aquí
We guarantee that you are going to be very happy at looking at these photos.
con los tecnología moderna del sitio que se va a instalar ahí.
With the new technology that was used for the installation of the project.
Y estoy a sus órdenes para contestarles y trabajar con ustedes a cualquier hora cuando nazca algún problema o pregunta.
And I am at your service, and at any time that you have any questions that need to be addressed, I will be at your service.
Si usted ve las fotos, y por favor mírelas antes de irse esta noche,
If you look at the pictures, then please look at the pictures before you leave tonight,
para que vean cómo está ahorita y cómo estará con el favor de Dios ya que aclamamos el proyecto.
so you can see what it looks like now and what it's going to be looking in the future if it is built.
La empresa Pepe's Toy es una empresa hermosa, fincada a base de mucho sudor.
Pepe's company, it's a company built with a lot of hard work
And love,
and love. Amor,
Like baby
mucho
love.
amor, mucho amor.
like
and
baby love, my
Como
grandchild.
amor de un bebé.
Y mis madres nos inculcaron todo el tiempo que hay que tratar a los empleados bien, a la gente bien y a los clientes bien con respeto y honestidad.
My mother taught us that we have to treat our customers with respect, as well as our client with the same respect as we would like to be treated.
La empresa Pepe's no nomás se trata de nuestra empresa, se trata de nuestro personal, nuestra gente que trabaja, que nos ayuda, porque como decía mi madre, sin el empleado uno no es nada.
Our company is not just my company or our company. This is, as my mother used to say, a company without employees is not a company at all. You need to have and treat you need to treat your employees as best as possible.
Pepe's Toy es una compañía bastante generosa que se preocupa con los que trabaja y las comunidades con los cuales trabajan, porque de ahí vivimos.
La compañía Pepe's trabaja muy duro para trabajar con sus empleados y I'm sorry. Can you repeat it?
Yes. La empresa Pepe's es una compañía que se preocupa mucho, no nomás de sus empleados, pero de las comunidades.
Pepe's companies works and
Pepe's Toy also not only worries about itself, but also the community and its employees.
Perhaps you would just do it in Spanish and English yourself. I mean, it's just kind of getting a little...
Okay.
That's just my...
All right, okay. Les damos las gracias por venir y cualquier pregunta estamos a sus órdenes. We thank you again for coming, and we are here at your service. Señor Alcalde, muchas gracias. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. Any questions?
You know,
You can say that. Thank you. Give me the mic. Thank you.
it's kind of hard to do this because I want to hear what the community is actually saying, what they know, because I know that there are some things that are not clear to them or to me as far as the standards that you're going to be keeping here should this pass versus what they've been looking at or for the last 40 some years, if not more. There has been nothing there. It's been an eyesore for many, many, many years. And I'm not sure they completely understand what would be permitted without a hearing. He did say it earlier, but I'm not sure that it was clear to them. I'm reading in some of the, just the landscaping alone, the conditional use is saying that you're going to, in perpetuity, as long as this is your property, you're going to keep that place looking great, because the one thing I know the community has been upset about for years is how bad it looks. But you're going to actually put in landscaping and make it look good and keep it looking good.
We're very excited to do that, yes.
Anybody else have any questions? Alan, any more? Deb?
Mr. Mayor, even though this is an opportunity for the council to ask questions of the applicant, if the council would indulge, I know there's a lot of folks here to speak, but maybe we could take a 2-minute recess.
For these pictures to go in there?
No, sir, just to make a couple of clarifications. If we could, I would appreciate it, and then we'll come right back, I promise.
I need a recess anyway to wash my hands. Anybody else need to do that?
But literally just a couple of minutes.
Gotcha. Let's take a quick recess and come back in just a couple. open, and we're still in recess, we'd have a conversation. How many of you seen Hamilton?
I saw it on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome, isn't it? Well, it's a great story. You can't talk that fast normally. You got to really listen to it and have I had to have the words on the bottom, because, yeah, the subtitles, because I couldn't keep up, But heck, I know all the words now. You should hear me talk to my wife, and she's like, "What?" Anyway, it was good. It was really good, really good. And I was gonna make a play off of that. Is now anybody who's here, you're in the room where it happened, right? You're in the room where it happened. Okay, so we're going to reconvene now. So welcome back to a meeting of the Ontario City Council. And, we just have quite a few questions. So I've had a conversation with my city manager. And, Scott, you want to take it from there for now?
Yes, sir. Earlier today, the issue that was brought up as the first part of this hearing, as it pertains to the 2 weeks of operation, was brought up as an error that was filed on the application, an error that was allowed to continue through discussions with staff, an error that was continued through the Planning Commission hearing, through the testimony, the staff report, the Planning Commission discussion among the commissioners themselves as represented in the minutes of that meeting, and was exposed here today basically as an error in this hearing. Similarly, the discussion about semi-trucks. There was no mention of semi-trucks in the application, yet as was outlined by the applicant here tonight, semi-trucks are part of that towing operation. I suppose what I am saying to council in summary is that the application itself, and I say this without any prejudice to any of the parties, is too full of possible inconsistencies based on these two rather glaring inconsistencies, not only for the council to meaningfully take up this discussion of whether or not to uphold the Planning Commission's approval of a CUP, but really calls into question the approval of that CUP in the first place. To that end, I think what is fair to the applicant for the time that they've put in, again, without prejudice to the errors consistent in or that are contained in the application, and with great respect to the community members who took time out of their day to be here to appear before the council, this matter should be forwarded back to the Planning Commission, because I think what you're going to get after several hours of public testimony is effectively garbage in, garbage out, because the base assumptions of the project, are at least in two very important areas, are incorrect. So to that end, Mr. Mayor, what I would suggest to you while the public hearing is still open would be to offer to any of the folks who are here that want to give testimony, certainly they can, they took time out, or if they would rather take comfort in the knowledge that the City Council, if you were to agree with my rationale, would not approve the CUP, not uphold the Planning Commission, but rather turn this item back around to the Planning Commission, and effectively with the consultation with City Attorney, if he wants to say anything he can, certainly, to have the applicant refile their application with correct information. I think that's the only way to ensure that all parties, both the applicant as well as the community members and the appellants, get the absolute best policy decision from the City Council. Otherwise, you're basically shadowboxing. So with that, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, I would offer that to you. It is entirely in your discretion. You may want to consult City Attorney to see if there's any holes in my line of thinking, and it again would revert back to you in your discretion as to whether or not you want to continue taking testimony, or if you would just want to close the public hearing and make a motion to return this item to the Planning Commission, where the commission would then have to take action to reconsider the application, considering the fact that it has some rather glaring omissions and errors.
I think that's probably the wise move. I'm concerned about some people who came and still want to be heard, but they need to understand that there's not going to be, if we go forward with what you're saying, and I think that's where we really need to go, it would be a moot point to be heard tonight. But I can see Mr. Wapner is...
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I just want to ask the city manager if we have a city employee that can translate, because I think everything you said is great, but I think it does have to be translated so the folks out there know what's going on.
We do have an interpreter.
Okay, that'd be great. And you have to repeat everything.
Well...
You know, you got the gist of it.
Yeah, go ahead. Just do it.
Go ahead.
Say it.
La decisión del consulado, bueno, lo que están hablando es de posiblemente si el consulado quiere tener la comisión de hacer la decisión por el consulado, porque
Help him, Scott.
Porque hay unos errores en...
Sí, hay unos errores en la aplicación. Entonces, es necesario correctar esos errores. Entonces, la recomendación es que se regrese para atrás a la comisión para tener toda la información y poder hacer la decisión con toda la información que está enfrente de la comisión.
Mr. City Attorney, anything that you wanted to add?
No, the only thing I wanted to add was, I just wanted to correct one word that was said. You used Mr. City Manager, you used the phrase refile the application. I would use the phrase to update and correct the application. The filing date would still be the same, it would just be corrected and updated.
Thank you.
It's getting a second pass at the Planning Commission, right? Okay.
Yes.
But, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, but Mr. City Attorney, if they've already had a conditional use permit approved by the Planning Commission, they have to submit a new application. They can't change one that's already been approved by the Planning Commission, correct? It's already been sent to the City Council. They have to resubmit with the correct information.
Well, what you're doing is if you follow the city manager's recommendation, you're sending it back to the Planning Commission for the application to be corrected and for the Planning Commission to further consider this item based on those corrections.
So are we saying the CUP has been approved or not approved?
No.
No.
So how do you tell the Planning Commission it's not approved after they approved it? It's in the minutes, it's in the record.
You're sending it back to them for further consideration.
I'm doing an action like that, but if that's what you think is the correct legal opinion.
Well, I think we can find out in the meantime of getting it back to them. At this time, we're rejecting it and sending it back to Planning Commission for a new review and a new vote. But and if there's any kind of legal ease that needs to be added to that, then let's do that too. And make sure that, as Mr. Wapner is saying, that it's legally done as it goes back and comes back. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. And I guess I would add but one more thing, because it was brought up in the appellant's comments as it pertains to other projects. We learn as we go. You know, we are certainly not perfect. And to the extent that, especially in the unprecedented environment that we're in by way of the pandemic, if we have to widen the ring of noticing, then we will do that and move forward in that direction. If we have to give advance notice of upcoming meetings, by all means, we will do that. But what I would submit to you is that each application that comes through, we try to keep a consistent process, and from the time that this tow yard application came in to the time that a church in a neighborhood church in a residential neighborhood came in, we had learned something by way of the objections that were voiced as part of this application. So the idea is not that we would give differential treatment to one application or another, but rather we are expanding the manner in which we provide notifications for all, regardless of the neighborhood. And I would like to think that all of our residents would appreciate the fact that every time we learn something about the way that we do notifications and community outreach, it grows that circle just a little bit bigger. And so to that end, as this would move back to the Planning Commission, rest assured, we would have the broadened degree of notice, that we would make sure and confirm that everything is bilingual, and all of the best practices that we would apply in any one project, we would apply in every project, including this one as it moves back. So folks will have ample opportunity to comment on this when it moves back to the Planning Commission.
Well, I think that we heard the community tonight, didn't we?
Well,
and everybody.
Mr. Mayor, I mean, a lot of these people came out and they were angry that they didn't get heard. So I think, you know what, they fully understand the process that we're going to go through if we all agree to this. But at the same time, out of respect for them, if they can be if they want to speak, they can speak. If they don't, they can wait till the proper time.
Well,
Mr.
that's
Mayor,
it.
I agree with Ruben. We really need to hear the ones that came out tonight.
That's the intention. What I was saying is that a lot of the reason that we have the dialogue that we have and in the format that we have is that if we come to a conclusion like we have right now to relook at the application, then we will. Getting past that, I've already been saying that we're going to get to the place where the people who are here, who came here, can still tell their story. That would be kind of rude for all of the people who have, gotten babysitters and missed dinner and hung out to just say, okay, go home now, we'll see you later. That won't be happening tonight, because I just want this to be on record as a time when you saw the Ontario City Council listen to the people. And not just push them off and say, see you later. That's not what's happening here, and it's certainly not what we intend to do by any means. And so we're going to, is there any other comments from the council? So I'll have to take a motion from it that we're going to go ahead and leave this in the hands going back to...
I'm going to hear the public hearing first.
And does that go into the record to go back to with the information going after Planning Commission too?
My understanding now is that based on the comments that were just made, that everyone in the overflow room and the lobby is aware of what the council's intention is. Mm-hmm. And at this point, if you choose to hear from the council, which it sounds, or from the community, which sounds like it is, you can have city clerk call folks in 3 at a time, or the mayor, because we have people outside.
I guess what I'm trying to say is they need to completely understand, and you can say it, that this is going back to Planning Commission. There's not going to be any yes or no for the project tonight. But you're free to say everything you want to say if you want to come forward. Yes. Are you on the public comment cards? You're the. Let's see.
And I'm sorry, not to be overly formalistic about it. I would recommend to you that if Ms. Lopez is going to come up and address the community, she would do that as part of her closing. So if you are going to come up and close the comment, then I guess we would be done after her comment. If there's other folks who want to get up and speak, I would respectfully ask that she not do that until everyone else comes, because as the appellant, she gets that final rebuttal along with presumably the applicant.
Yeah, this is very convoluted tonight, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to start calling on people to come forward. And if they're here, they can speak. And I just want them to completely understand that we're just hearing tonight. Okay? So, Dennis Gutierrez.
You may want to pull several cards at once so folks have heard.
Oh, yeah, I guess I'll go with...
Have a translator take a handful of cards.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing is I'm just trying to figure out why there's 2 stacks here.
You have 3 stacks.
3
Mayor.
stacks. So these people need interpreters, yes? Looks like. Oh, they're outside.
Well, there's some that are Spanish. They say Spanish.
Mhm.
Interpreters.
Okay.
So you have 3 sets.
Okay. And then we have
You have one more card.
this card over here.
Yeah, so that's your list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to just, good, here we go. So let's call in Dennis Gutierrez, Edelmira Ortega, and David Chavez. Are the other 2 somewhere?
They're looking for him.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, Mr. Manager, first I'd like to say that your staff report was very well done. And after your comments, I have to agree with the city manager. Because I can understand you want to hear your constituents, but all you're going to be doing is spinning your wheels because it has to go back to the beginning. And the application is going to be different. Once the application becomes different, the questions are going to be different. So whatever comes up, pro or con, is not going to be complete. So with that, I go with the recommendation of the city manager. Thank you.
You can't fix it. That's it. You can't fix it. You can't. You can't fix it. You can't say, okay, so this. Oh, well, thank you. That wasn't very long. Then our next speaker is Edelmira Ortega.
I
No,
was informed that several people left, Mayor, so we may just have to.
I don't blame him. David Chavez? Before you speak, Mr. Chavez, can we call in Jose, it looks like Altamirano, and Yvonne Mendez? So someone work on getting them in, and we'll hear Mr. Chavez. No, you're up.
Good afternoon. I've never done this before. Never been to a city council meeting before. My name is David Chavez. I'm a retired California Highway Patrol officer. And I met Pepe's Towing in 1990 when they got on the tow list for the CHP in that area. And we become friends, and we've done work together real closely. I'm a landscaping contractor now. And Pepe's Towing has established, from my law enforcement background and experience, an impeccable reputation to the communities that they're in. Because they're from Los Angeles all the way down to the desert. And they're very community oriented. And if there's something in the community that needs to be done and can't be done, it's a consideration for their staff. And they take a lot of pride in the people they recruit, and their history speaks for itself. They have an excellent staffing. I myself am their occupational and traffic safety consultant, and so I'm just here to support them. That's all.
All right.
Any questions for me?
No, we can't do that, Mr. Chavez.
Okay.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and call in Jose. Well, I already did. Jose Altamirano, Felicia Aro, and Yvonne Mendez.
Anyone in the chambers who would like to speak?
Right, and that's a good idea. So your name is, ma'am? Hey, I like that last name. Here you go. Come on up. Come on up.
Good evening, council members and city manager and the community. My name is Yadira De Leon. I am a resident of Ontario. I work for Ontario Montclair School District. And this project, I have no doubt that Pepe's Towing Company is looking out for the community and has a rapport with the community. But I think the concerns that this community has go a little beyond that. It does not affect me personally. I don't live in that area, but I do work in that area. And one thing that has not been mentioned is that there are 2 schools down the street from where this towing company would be. That is De Anza Middle School and Sultana Elementary. And there is a lot of parents that walk their kids to school. And if this is going to be a 24-hour towing company, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of traffic, especially if there are big rigs coming in. And it's going to create so much traffic for our students that are bused in. So one other huge concern that I had is that there's going to be a gas tank installed in this place. And if 100 yards is the closest home to this tow company, that raises a huge concern for me, especially with so many children living in this community. So I'm here to support this community. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't affect me directly, but I feel that the concerns that were raised are highly important. So I hope that that is taken into consideration at the time that they refile. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Is Felicia in yet?
Mayor, I believe
There she is.
they brought everybody in now that was in the other room.
Okay, so Felicia's coming forward. She is going to need a translator.
Buenas tardes, señores del concilio. Yo soy una señora, Felicia Jaro. Vivo enfrente de donde quieren hacer el evento ese. Y mi preocupación... perdón.
Oh, she just said good evening and that she actually lives right by where the project is located.
Mi preocupación acerca de este proyecto es que es una comunidad no de ricos, es una gente, vivimos ahí toda una comunidad de gente trabajadora.
Yeah, what she's saying is that in this neighborhood, it's not like a bunch of rich people. These are all hardworking, blue-collar individuals.
Y la verdad estoy muy preocupada porque tenemos 2 escuelas ahí que viene siendo el de Anza, viene siendo Euclid, y la verdad es muchos niños los que pasarían por Belmont. De la campus para acá, es muchos niños que pasarían por ahí, por Belmont, a la escuela de Euclid, también al de Anza. Entonces se miran muy bonitos esas casas, pero el trabajo, las máquinas, todo lo que va a haber, van a tener que taparnos todos. Cuando empiece la escuela, si Dios quiere, nos van a tapar todo ese recorrido para los niños. Creo que tenemos que cruzar por allá para llegar allí. Y la preocupación también me da porque... perdón. Sí, se me olvida.
So she's mentioning that there's 2 schools by the proposed project, and she's concerned that as kids walk to and from the school that there's going to be, and she thinks there's going to be some sort of blockage or impediment that's going to make them have to walk around in order to get to and from the school.
Sí, perdón. Y aparte estoy preocupada también porque nos habían dicho que iba a ser la mitad nomás el lugar de ese donde van a trabajar y va a ser todo. Me preocupa también la gasolina que van a tener ahí estancada.
Okay. Yeah, so she's also concerned about the proposed gas tank that is on the site, and she was also under the impression that they're only going to develop half the site. That was her impression.
Y pues hay muchas cosas más, ¿verdad? Pero le voy a dejar a mis compañeros que van a hablar y les pedimos que tengan consideración de nosotros y que los señores busquen otro lugar, porque el centro de ahí de nosotros sería su lugar, ya no especialmente para nuestros hijos, sería el centro de atención sería ellos, ya no tendríamos preocupación por nuestros niños, por nuestra comunidad, ¿verdad?
So she's basically, to take into consideration what the community is saying and to take into consideration their concerns. This is, this is their community.
Gracias, señores del concilio. Muy buenas tardes.
Okay, thank you and good evening.
All right, thank you. So our next speaker is Elizabeth Valdez, and she'll need a translator. Yeah?
Sí, separan unas partes para que pueda...
Sí, claro que sí. Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Elizabeth García Valdés. Estoy en representación de un grupo de padres voluntarios de Rutas Seguras a la Escuela de la comunidad de Ontario y Montclair.
Good evening. She's here to represent parents of the local schools.
Como miembros de la comunidad, hemos tenido la oportunidad de aportar nuestras opiniones en el proceso de la elaboración del Plan Maestro de Transportación Activa.
They've been given the opportunity to provide comment as part of the review of the project.
Que ha sido desarrollado para identificar y priorizar el caminar y andar en bicicleta. Asimismo, en el desarrollo del plan de rutas seguras a la escuela.
She's mentioning transportation-related concerns as far as pedestrian mobility, bicycle and vehicle transportation.
Reconocemos el trabajo que la ciudad de Ontario está realizando, efectuando obras de infraestructura para desarrollar calles y aceras más seguras.
She appreciates the city efforts to benefit the community by improving the public right-of-way.
Con la finalidad de motivar que más niños caminen y monten en bicicleta como medio de transporte para dirigirse a la escuela.
Yeah, so many of the children that go to and from the school are, traveling in the area and using vehicles or están caminando.
Bikes.
They're walking bikes, that sort of thing.
Por lo que creemos que el transporte pesado, aumento de tráfico y contaminación que genera el establecimiento de un corralón de grúas cerca de áreas escolares.
The concern is having tow trucks in the area next to the schools.
Son un conflicto para el propósito del que se ha venido construyendo a través de varios años con el trabajo y la participación de una comunidad que fue considerada por varias subvenciones.
This proposed project is in conflict with the general community, which is primarily residential.
Por ser una de las más vulnerables en el estado de California. Por ser una de las más vulnerables en el estado de California. Otorgaron las becas.
This is a very vulnerable area in all of Southern California.
Agradecemos la respuesta a la apelación interpuesta del proyecto del corralón de grúas. Agradecemos la respuesta que nos dieron de la apelación.
They appreciate the responses that were given by the applicant of the proposed project.
Específicamente en el punto número 3, la clarificación que se nos proporciona sobre el propósito de las subvenciones.
In particular, the responses that were provided as it relates to concern number 3.
Para desarrollar planes de apoyo que mejoren la calidad de vida en general. Para desarrollar planes de apoyo que mejoren la calidad de vida en general de la comunidad. Planes de apoyo de mejorar la calidad de vida en general.
Oh, de asegurar que son planes de apoyo.
Planes. Así como alentar a la comunidad a participar en las decisiones compartidas que impactan en la calidad de vida del vecindario.
She appreciates the opportunity to provide comments on items that impact the general community.
Sin embargo, hacen mención que estas subvenciones no están sujetas a las regulaciones de uso de locales o tierra. En la misma contestación nos hacen mención que las subvenciones o los GRAN no están sujetos a las regulaciones de uso y tierra del área.
¿Subvenciones? ¿Qué es esa palabra?
Subvenciones son grants, los grants o las becas que se otorgan.
Las becas.
Del TCC, del HIL y todo eso. Es que no podía redactar todo, entonces lo reduje.
Es que no sé esa palabra en español.
Subvenciones grant, los grants o las becas del TCC y del HIL.
Entonces
ustedes nos dieron la contestación a la apelación,
de los grants.
Por eso mencioné el número 3, para no irme largo.
Entonces está diciendo que
One minute remaining.
Sí.
She's referring to the grants because that was one of the
Si quieres, no, bajamos. Que apoyamos el desarrollo económico de la ciudad siempre y cuando no se contraponga con el bienestar en general. Por eso, el grupo de padres voluntarios de Rutas Seguras los exhortamos a priorizar antes de los diferentes intereses lo más importante que pueda impactar la seguridad y el bienestar de las futuras generaciones que son nuestros niños, por lo que estamos nosotros trabajando.
Entonces, es que está diciendo que están apoyando la economía.
La economía,
okay.
Pero siempre que no se contraponga con el bienestar en general.
De la comunidad. Okay. So she's just saying that she
make the final statement because the time is up.
She appreciates that this project is going to benefit the general economy, but needs to take into consideration the impacts of the general community.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Okay. Our next speaker would be Lorenzo Navarro.
Mayor, interpreter, or no?
No.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Lorenzo Navarro. I'm the general manager of Pepe Stowing, and I'm here tonight to make a couple of clarifications here. Everybody mentioned and get panic about this 1,000 gallons fuel, but they keep mentioning that it's gasoline. That is not gasoline. It's diesel. Gasoline is considered flammable. Diesel is considered combustible. They will not ignite like the gasoline with a spark or a match. Okay? Second one, these 3 trucks that we're going to be used there, they're certified clean. 2 of those are small tow trucks. 1 of them is a big rig. Just to give an idea, we have a gas fuel tank that it gets filled up every 3 weeks, and it takes approximately 400 gallons max. You can say that we use in between 400 or 450 gallons a month. Hours, again, we mentioned, is 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. We close Saturday and Sunday for releases, just like any other business. Water department, phone companies, city halls, open 8 to 5. Police departments 24/7, just like us. The tow trucks, they're satellite from home. drivers, they take the truck to home and they're just waiting for call. Your average call that we get on non-rotation week is from 5 to 7 calls
1 minute remaining.
a week. In a rotation week, we average about 40 to 80 calls in 1 week, which is every 5 weeks. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is, did we speak to Juan Panillas yet?
No.
Juan here? Juan? Yeah, come on. I'm guessing who's still here. Karen, is there any way that we can, if there's anybody still out, that we can fit them in a seat here? I'd like everybody here that's on the list.
I think they brought him in, Mayor.
Okay. We'll make sure that they did.
Buenas tardes, señores del jurado. Disculpe que no hablo inglés.
Yeah, that's good. So that's fine, just go ahead.
Yo no estoy de acuerdo en esto que se quiere hacer. Yo vivo alrededor.
He said, good evening. He's not in favor of the proposed project and he lives in the area.
En primer lugar, la preocupación son los niños.
First and foremost, the main concern is the children.
Pasan muchos niños por esa calle hacia la escuela, solos, muchos, sus papás trabajando.
There's a lot of kids that walk to school by themselves because their parents are working.
Yo llego de mi trabajo, voy a recoger a mi hijo, me ha tocado mirar niñas y sus hermanitos que cruzan. A veces les ayudo a cruzar.
Sometimes when she goes to pick up his child, he sees kids crossing the street and he actually offers to help them because of safety concerns.
Con este trabajo pesado, un carro pesado, va a ser más difícil ver a un niño. Y ahí ya no voy a poder yo, así no puedo correr.
So with this proposed project, he's going to have, there's going to be less visibility to see children going to school and crossing streets.
Ojalá ayuden a la comunidad de aquí de Ontario, pero ahí donde vivimos, ¿verdad? Y espero nos ayuden, concienticen, más que nada los niños, la gente alrededor no va a poder dormir también, el ruido va a ser bastante.
He's hopeful that the council can help them out. The biggest thing to take into consideration is the children, and also to keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of noise as it relates to the project.
Ahora, disculpe, pienso que no va a ser mucho, no va a haber mucho trabajo para, como decir, una empresa que genera trabajo en la noche, cuando ya esté la obra. ¿Cuántos serán? 4, 5, pero esos 4 o 5, un ruidajo, como si fuera un grande, ¿sí?
Sí. A ver. So what he's saying is basically, while there may only be like 4 or 5 trips to the site at night, because it's at night and it's quiet, it's going to just sound so much louder for the residents.
Thank you. Gracias. Gracias.
Okay, our next speaker is George Estrada.
Mayor, City Council, and guests, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity tonight. Unfortunately, it's gone a little sideways on everybody, but I'm going to take the bullet for it because I've been working with the planning department and there must have been a misunderstanding regarding what Mr. Wapner said, and it clearly needs to be addressed and be brought back. So before I give you my spew that I was going to give today, I will return when we refile and make sure that your planning department is probably one of the best people that I work with different cities, and probably one of the best ones that are out there. So again, I will take the bullet for it, because I assist Manny Acosta when it comes to it, this project. And Manny Acosta is all about the community. That was one thing I could tell you. He's not here worried about his pocket getting filled. He worries about how we're going to build it. That's why he mentioned clearly that we've come across a couple of times, not a couple of times, we even changed the whole design of the site to not only to comply, but for the community. Making sure that this is something that's going to be very pleasant when they're there, times of operation. But we could get into all that, Council and Mayor, when we refile again. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Nieves Vigil.
Hi, my name is Nieves Vigil, and I'm a realtor. We have an office right here in Ontario, Century 21 Town and Country. And I will say that this project will raise the property values. It's a beautiful project that's going on. I don't know what's going on here, but everybody's coming up here with the same things, the same beefs, okay? But what they don't know is Manny. They don't know Manny. They don't know Pepe's Towing. I've been here, like I said, 20 years. I've been here in the Inland Empire, and all I see Manny doing is working in the community, working with the people closely. I mean, very involved with the community. I mean, he would not go into this community and put these children at risk. I'm sure that he has looked at the schools, that he's looked at everything. What I've seen of his business I'm very familiar with a lot of his companies. They don't make a lot of noise. There's not a lot of noise. They'll come in, do their thing, and go. It's not like, like a lot of noise, and I don't know if the community is actually being told the truth about how this is going to benefit their community, because it is going to benefit their community. Something's going to have to go into that lot. If it's not this, then what is it going to be? And there's going to be more security for the community. He's very closely associated with law enforcement. Law enforcement is very involved with Manny. I mean, I don't see anything negative on this coming into the community. Where I live, everybody takes care of their kids. There's schools all over the place. I don't know, I heard that the kids were by themselves or whatever. I don't know what's going on with that. And I know that it's probably been a really tight-knit community. But Ontario's growing, okay? Ontario continues to be developed.
1 minute remaining.
And as far as I'm concerned, as Manny's a man of integrity, and I'm here to speak forward for the project. I am in behalf of Pepe's Towing also. I would say that it would be a positive for Ontario. Thank you.
Thank you. Ernie Sanchez. Ernie Sanchez. Is Ernie still here? Okay. We'll move on to Glenn Dominguez. Okay. Robert Velasco. Enrique Garcia. There he is.
Sí. Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Yo soy una de las personas que me opongo al edificio que quieren hacer,
I'm opposed to the project
porque a 300 pies de donde va a ser la puerta yo vivo
I live 300 feet from the property.
y va a ser demasiado ruido.
There will be a lot of noise for me.
Ellos dicen que no va a ser mucho ruido,
They
por
said there's-
tal de hacer el edificio,
They say that there's not going to be a lot of noise.
pero va a hacer ruido.
There will be a lot of noise.
¿Qué beneficio tengo yo que hagan el proyecto?
What benefit is that project to me?
Mi casa va a perder valor.
My house will lose value.
Platiqué con uno de los que están encargados del edificio y me dijo que mi casa va a subir de valor. ¿Me lo asegura que va a subir de valor?
I spoke to the applicant and he assured me that my property will raise in value, but I doubt that.
Yo tengo mi hijo que camina a la escuela
My son walks to school.
y a todas horas hay accidentes. ¿Qué sucede si me le pasa algo a mi hijo?
There are several accidents, or I witnessed to several accidents in the area, and I'm concerned about what would happen with my son if the project were to move forward. ¿Algo más?
Bastante tenemos con el ruido de los aviones, con el tren que lleva la madera.
There's a lot of existing noise within the neighborhood with noise from the airport and the railroad nearby.
Es todo.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Manuel Padilla. No. Consuelo Gutierrez.
Hi, I'm Consuelo. You guys know me as Buffy. I'm here with my sister, and I'm here for my parents. And this is coming from them. We've lived here 52 years and would rather see an empty field as it is. The kids, they need to be safe. We'd rather see an empty field than see big old trucks coming by at all hours of the day. You guys need to think of the elderly and our kids, grandkids, because a long time ago, a cousin of ours got ran over from a tow yard on Holt. We wouldn't want that here. We already have speeding cars already. We don't need something else there. Like they said, the community and stuff, they say about the schools. Yeah, there is schools around there. And to the tow yard that wants to be built there, why don't you build it in your front yard and see it in your own front yard, because the city of Ontario don't want it there.
We don't want it.
Thank you.
Okay, Enrique Garcia.
I think we have
Nope.
that.
Veronica Rodriguez. Nope. Miguel Guerrero. Nope. Mana Gonzalez. And she needs an interpreter.
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Gracias por su tiempo,
Thank you for your time.
por decidir quedarse y recibirnos, aunque van a hacer otra nueva aplicación por ciertas cosas que no sucedieron bien.
That you're taking the time to listen to us, even though the project's going to be recommended to go back to Planning Commission for further consideration.
Y por supuesto también soy una de las personas que no estoy de acuerdo con el proyecto que se planea hacer en la Belmont y Phillips,
And I am also one of the residents that is opposing the proposed project.
ya que igual, ¿verdad? Mi mayor preocupación son los niños.
My utmost concern is the children that live in the area.
y todas las personas que vivimos ahí cercas.
and all the other residents that live in the surrounding neighborhood.
Ustedes como miembros de esta comunidad saben que ahí es un área, Ontario tiene muchas áreas de hispanos.
It's the community at large is a highly Hispanic community within that neighborhood.
Y esta es una de ellas.
This is one of those communities.
Muchos de los papás trabajan muy temprano. Ellos se van a trabajar para el soporte de sus familias. Muchos de estos niños y jóvenes caminan a Euclid, Sultana, and the Anza Middle School.
Many of the parents that live within this neighborhood work very early hours, and many of the children walk to school within the surrounding community, including Euclid, De Anza.
Como hablaba una de las personas, esta compañía beneficia muchas cosas, pero a nuestra comunidad tristemente no.
As the applicant explained that, although this project will have many benefits, the benefits to the community is not one of those benefits.
Entonces sí me gustaría que ustedes como mayor, cónsul, todos los miembros de la ciudad, escucharan a nosotros la comunidad. No estoy de acuerdo en este proyecto.
I appreciate you taking the time to listen to us, and I am opposed to the proposed project.
Me encantaría que consideraran ofrecerles otro terreno que no esté donde haya mucha vivienda.
We were hoping that you could work with the applicant to offer other sites more appropriate for them to locate.
Creo que sería lo más apropiado, así pues yo sé que la ciudad de Ontario está creciendo mucho, pero igual, ¿verdad? Creo que mirar ese proyecto qué es lo que causa grúas muy pesadas.
So one of the things I would like you to consider is the impacts of this project. There are several tow trucks coming to the site, and looking for another potential location would be ideal.
Se piensa en el negocio, sí, yo sé, pero también debemos de pensar principalmente en la comunidad y en nuestros niños.
And one of the things that we know we're business friendly, but we also want to make sure that the council considers the community in this instance.
Y espero que cuando ya tengan la nueva aplicación, que donde van a meter toda la información que de 24 horas se va a trabajar, que los 7 días de la semana que anteriormente no estaba, nos hagan llegar a todos el vecindario de aquí de esta comunidad por carta para avisarnos cuándo sería la siguiente junta para poder estar aquí con ustedes.
We look forward to the applicant resubmitting or refiling the application with the new information to make sure that we are informed throughout the whole process, and also that we're informed of any future meetings in an appropriate manner.
Gracias por su atención y que pasen muy buenas noches.
Thank you for your time and have a good evening.
Thank you. Julie Hernandez. Nicole Hernandez. Armando Jaime. Okay. Luis Ojeda.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. My name is Luis Ojeda. I'm come from the city of San Bernardino, and you guys would say, he's lost? No, I'm not. I'm just here to support Pepe Stoin, because Pepe Stoin has been supporting not only the city of San Bernardino, but many, many people. And I understand that people's concerned, okay? But I wanted to assure the community that if you guys support this project, this business is going to be an asset to your community. Why am I saying this? I met Mr. Benny Acosta in one of the council meetings at the city of San Bernardino, because I'm the president and founder of We Are the Change SB Volunteers. And we started cleaning up illegal dumping sites from vacant lots. And unfortunately, in the city of San Bernardino, there's many, many. So sometimes people say, well, we don't want to see anything there. Well, unfortunately, if you don't know anything there, you have homeless, you will have illegal dumping, you have a lot of things that is going to affect your community. So Pepe's towing, Mr. Acosta, he approached me that time at one of the council meetings, said, I wanted to help. And, you know, many people said the same thing. And sometimes people just want to give you money. And I say, you really want to help the city of San Bernardino? Why don't you come one of these Sundays at 7 o'clock and you clean up with us? And guess what? He showed up in one of his tow trucks and we made him work for 3 hours. Not only that, he paid for everybody's breakfast.
1 minute remaining.
And he kept supporting our events, because I also started SB Food Fest at the city of San Bernardino, downtown, to bring life back to the downtown of San Bernardino. So I just want to ask the people that live in that community, it's a fact that there's a Hispanic neighborhood there, but also that he could be an asset for your kids. Why? Because pretty soon people that goes to work, they have their kids going to high school, they might need a part-time, they might learn something in that business. So I would appreciate that all the people in that community would think about all the benefits. And I'm just going to remind people, look at Pepe's Towing and their trucks. That's the kind of business they run. Clean. They're clean trucks. Okay, so thank you very much for your time, and I hope you guys support that.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Juana Gomez. Juana Gomez.
Hello, I'm back. My name is Juana. I live here in Ontario, not too far from where this project is supposed to be possibly placed. And I want to start with the positives first. I want to make sure that it's known that all of the community that is against this site having the tow truck company there, it's nothing against Pepe's Towing. I have nothing negative to say about that tow truck company. I've known it for years. Haven't had any problems with them. It's not about that. I want to make sure that it's known that the community, and I walked that community several times now, has personally told me in Spanish they do not want a tow truck company in the middle of the neighborhood. The majority of them speak Spanish. Quite a few of them came here tonight, and I want to point out that, well, before I get to that, I want to thank the mayor for the explanation that you gave at the beginning of this session. I'm so at ease knowing that you said that the community comes here and we're not beneath you, that we may be down here, but we should be able to speak to all of you without being afraid, without being nervous or scared of what you're going to think about what we're saying. That meant a lot to me. The way you all discussed what you thought about the proposal, you were open about it. I appreciate that. I had not seen that before, and I have to tell you that was really rewarding for me to be here tonight and to have convinced all these folks to come out here tonight, and then again to be so disappointed when Mr. Ochoa mentioned in English that you weren't going to make a decision tonight, and that
1 minute remaining.
That we came here for tonight was to make a decision, and we were hoping for number 2, so that this would be rejected, and then the community would feel like they had a voice and they were heard. And I'm thoroughly disappointed at how the community didn't hear that in Spanish when Mr. Ochoa said this, how the translator did not say that thoroughly in Spanish, so the community doesn't know why they weren't heard. People left and they're not here to speak, many of them, because they just heard, you're going to be heard tonight, but nothing's going to happen. You can talk, but we're just going to listen to you. That was very disappointing to them and to me, as one of those persons that went and talked to them and convinced them to come and be heard, because you would hear them, because they voted for you and they believe in you. Several of them mentioned Mayor Leon, have given his word many times and shook on it, how he was always going to look out for this city. And last, if not, Pepe's Towing, if he's about community, then he should think about how this is not the community that he should be putting his business in, if he's really community oriented. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, and Isabel Hernandez. Brandon Aparicio. Is Brandon here? I'm sorry, I can't. I need my glasses to read your last name here. Okay, it looked like that, kind of. Brandon Aparicio.
Am I good to speak?
Yeah.
Okay. So hello, my name is Brandon Aparicio. I have a master's degree in chemical environmental engineering, concentration in air quality systems, and as well as water systems. And I also got my bachelor's in chemical environmental engineering, concentration in chemistry and air quality. And me and a couple of other members, as well as Tom Eckel, who's a veteran and a PhD candidate at UC Riverside, and we both have done experiments and ran air quality modeling at CSERT, which is a air quality lab located at UCR. I worked with the EPA, SQAMD, the California Air Resource Board, as well as Edison's International, and many other places that involve making changes into disadvantaged communities. I specifically work here in Ontario. Sorry to read. I specifically work here in Ontario, helping disadvantaged communities become more environmentally friendly because of many old established laws and policy and regulations that have occurred. With Pepe's Towings, I disagree with what's going on here. I have lived in Ontario most of my life as a child, and my parents do live within the area, as well as other friends and best friends and childhood friends that live right 300 feet from the property line. Some interesting facts I want to share. The Cal Environment Screen score of that certain area is 65.34, which means that's the 96 to 100% percentile, which means that's very bad air quality in the region. All surrounding areas are part of the top 25 most polluted areas within California. You take into consideration the exemptions of 15332 and 15315 of the SECA guidelines, and you guys see that this property is exempted for that without no viable resources. The only resources that were given was by an assessment made by Pepe from a consulting third party, and I looked at the resources that they use and all the academic publications they use to come with the solution that noise pollution, air pollution is unaffected. According to those academic research papers, these are very old.
1 minute remaining.
2011, 1997, 1999. These are all outdated information that they use, and they don't even conduct their own research. So this is far against that. Another thing I want to point out is that this light industrial zoning, you're only allowed to have a floor to area ratio of 0.55. According to the building schematics I was provided with, it is 0.56. So already that you're not even allowed to have that in it because you go above it. And people can decide that, well, according to the decimal point you can't, but according to significant figures and engineering, moral, and ethics, that is not applicable, which means that this shouldn't even happen at all. And then air quality assessment, we don't take into consideration all the air quality impact that facility has with all the other industrial zones around the area. With my team, have done environmental estimations. It is very, very bad here. And this is not the first hearing I've been to. I've been to various other hearings in the city of Riverside to go against warehouses and other light industrial buildings. And this is something that's coming from people who are taking their time. We're not getting paid for this. We volunteered our time to do engineering assessments on this. Thank you very much.
Good job, young man. Okay.
Mayor, I'm told that everyone is in chambers now that has pulled a blue card, so we might be able to shorten the process.
Everybody's here in the chambers. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Well, if I call their name, I don't even know anymore who I called their name and they didn't answer.
Your choice.
Well, I'll just, okay, we'll do the best I can. So, Rosemary Ramos.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, and I'm a homeowner and I live like 4 houses from this place where it's going to be built, and I'm opposed to it because I also have a son that walks to school, and I don't want him to be hurt by a big semi truck or being pulled or a tow truck company. a lot of the community there on our block and all around the area, we're all opposed to this being there. We have nothing against Pepes at all, but not on three sides of our area. There's homes here, 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 and they want to put it right smack in the middle. And it's not how beautiful they would make it, because if the city was worried about it being beautiful, then all the other industrial buildings that are right there, they're all ugly. They would be fined. Why don't they fine them and make them clean up their area? We plant trees and everything to make it beautiful. We don't need more beautification there. We need safety, and that's going to make our house values go down. And then also there's a train that goes on the backside of this property, and it gets stuck. Once that lumber yard gets going, the train gets stuck there. And that's the route that they're supposedly to be taken. Well, once that train gets stuck there, where are they going to go? They're going to come to our blocks. They're going to come to our streets. They would have no other way of leaving their area. And another thing, Danny Chan, I had asked him, can you do a noise, a test? And he did it. They did it on on the truck wash. They didn't do it on the tow trucks being, cars being towed on and off, pulled on and off the trucks. We don't want to hear that at night. We
1
want
minute
to rest
remaining.
like everyone else has a good night's sleep. We want a good night's sleep. We don't want to hear tow trucks coming 24-hour a day. It doesn't matter if it was 5 or 3 or however many. We don't want to hear that in our area. And hopefully this is not the last resort where this place can be built. They can go to another area on campus. There's a whole big wide area over there. Why there? We don't want it there. And we really wish that you would consider not okaying this. That's all I have to say. And I'm a resident there over 50 years, and I love my area, and this is not what we want to see in our area. I would rather myself see that lot another 10 years vacant than anything like that put there. That's all. Thank you for your time, and thank you for waiting for us to speak.
Yeah, that's what we do. So I don't see Tom Burciaga. Is he still here? No. Jesse Atilano.
Not here.
Al Lavrada.
Not here.
Luis Medina.
Not here.
Bob Toledo.
Not here.
Okay, so we have basically 2 more blue slips, and one is Mr. Acosta and the other is Ms. Lopez. But is there anybody here that pulled? Okay, yeah, so I called your name and wait, no, here's a couple of more names. What's your name?
Manuel Padilla.
We did call.
You've got to be here somewhere.
I think you called it earlier, Mayor.
Yeah, come on up. That's good. Come on up.
I apologize for that.
That's okay.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Manuel Padilla.
Gotcha.
And 30-year retired from the California Highway Patrol as a deputy commissioner. But as I worked my way up the ranks, one of my primary responsibilities was a division chief for Enforcement Services Division. That division oversees the biennial inspection of terminals program, and also it oversees the Freeway Service Patrol and the rotation tow service agreements for the California Highway Patrol. And I have to tell you that that's where I first met Pepes Tow, but I believe it was Manny's dad at the time. And we've never really had, well, I can tell you without a doubt, while I was there for 3 years, we never had a complaint with regard to the tow operations for Pepes Tow. With regard to the biannual inspection of terminals program, it's where the Highway Patrol comes in to inspect their fleet and facility and driver records to determine their safety record, the safety of the drivers, and the facility, the maintenance of the facility, or the maintenance of vehicles through the facility. And so I could tell you without a doubt, while I was there, he was never on any type of notice that he was in violation of the BIT program. And then as I got to know Manny more personally, I understand how important safety was to him, to the extent that he's very conscientious of his employees to ensure that they have the required credentials to drive the vehicles that they're certified to drive. That's one thing. The other thing is I know that Manny does not tolerate anybody that's going to act in any type of unsafe manner, to the extent that, in my opinion, Manny is extremely hands-on when it comes to his business and to providing a service to the community. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about just how concerned he is for his community. He does a lot for the community, for one, but I'm very impressed with Manny because he did help build a school for orphans in Tijuana. That's how important kids are to them.
1 minute
to him.
remaining.
And I guarantee you, without a doubt, he is extremely concerned about the community and what the impact it's going to have. But more importantly, I agree with the other gentleman that spoke earlier. This Pepe's Tow is going to be an asset to the community in many ways, not just through community involvement, but as a tax base and a friend to the community. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and I apologize for not coming on with the last time my name was.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Thank you. Karen Chavez. No. Josefina Chavez. No. Samantha Rodriguez. No. Okay, is there anybody in here that filled out a blue slip that I did not call your name to speak? We got it? Okay, so then we have two left, and one is Selena Lopez, and the other is Manny Acosta. So, how do we handle that in order? Because we have the two people involved here. And Manny spoke last, so it's her turn, then his turn. Or
generally, you would have the appellant and then the applicant.
This is a public comment.
It's the public hearing for this matter. And just, we've come this far, so opening it to the appellant and then the applicant, and then close the public hearing portion of this hearing, public participation portion of the hearing, and then allow council to entertain dialogue and a motion.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and hear, that would be Selena, you're first.
Mayor, is this timed?
Yeah, there's still time.
Okay,
3 minutes. The last time you were making your case, and
Oh,
we
so
just
this
wanted you to make your case, and
So this is
and,
public comments that I'm doing?
Well, it's the
Or
public
am I-
hearing, but it's a time part of the hearing, so
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. Wow, what a day, right? What an evening. I want to appreciate every single person that came out tonight, and everyone that stood up here, even when they were scared and concerned about what to say and how to say it. Even the translator had a little mishaps, in translating, but, he tried his best, in accommodating our residents, and that's also very much appreciated. I know that we're going to do this all over again. I feel like we're going full circle, right? What I was hoping, like Juana said today, was that you rejected this. And that would be our recommendation, rejection. If it goes back to Planning Commission, they will review it, we will appeal it, and we will come back to you. And you will do this all over again. It's the cycle, right?
It's a process.
It's a process. And we will do this all over again. Because as you heard, they don't want that. They don't want this in their, in their neighborhood. Again, nothing against Pepe, although when I was doing my research and I was digging and people were upset, I started getting information, factual information about Pepe's Towing. So not everything is peachy how it's sounded, as to what Manny does for the community. But again, this is not about Pepe's. I'm not going to focus tonight about Pepe's and all the information because I don't want to bring that up tonight. It was about the community and about their voice and about how they want this, how they don't want this project here. So we could get into more factual things about Pepe at a later time if it does come back to you. But tonight, it's about the community. Tonight it's about them, their voice.
1 minute remaining.
Which I'm glad that you all took the time to hear them out. I'm glad that they all voiced, some of them had to go, and some of them were disappointed, as Juana said, after it was, mentioned that it was going to go back. They just said, why am I going to stand here? Just go. And that's why there's a lot of them that didn't voice their opinion. So again, I hope that they continue to engage. If we come back again to you, I hope that they do come back and they do voice their opinion. But I do appreciate the time. I appreciate everybody's time. I appreciate everybody that's here. I think that we're going to be seeing each other again based on what I'm seeing, because it's not over. But thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And our last speaker in the public hearing is Mr. Manny Acosta.
Good evening once again. We will address and look at the concerns of the community. We've been operating for the past 5 years out of location within 2 miles from there, and we've never had a problem. All the other environmental, fuel, and driving safety things are no different on Main and Campus than they are on Sultana and Belmont. So therefore, we would revisit this. This is a site that has been vacant for 40 years, and that's ridiculous for a site to be such a prime piece of property with all the development that's going on in this city. As technical and modern that this city is becoming, to see that piece be like that is not understood. Doesn't make any sense. But it's when we applied, like I said, we did not want to get rejected. We didn't want to be here with this type of opposition. And the staff was very clear that we were the applicant, the best applicant yet for this property, because everybody had been booted out. So it is a very controversial type of spot for some reason or another. Very good location, and noise can't get worse than airplanes and trains. So I don't know how much more uncomfortable people can sleep with another truck going by versus a train or an airplane. Good night. Thank you.
All right. So, unless, I can see already that Ms. Prada, you have something to say?
Would it be appropriate to close the public participation portion of the hearing?
Yeah. Well, I'm just waiting to see if there's any other comments. So we are closing the public hearing, at which time now I'll entertain a motion or any other comments from the council.
No, I just would like to send this back to the planning commission to get them to clean up the CUP, so.
And it's motion by Mayor Pro Tem, second by Councilmember Bowman.
Mr. Mayor, would it be appropriate at this point to have our interpreter announce that and describe that motion for anybody who might be watching or in the lobby? Lorena is
I don't
sitting over here.
know, maybe Selena should do it so we make sure. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Go ahead. She's good.
So, hay una moción del Consejo George Parada para continuar o regresar este caso a la comisión para consideración.
Okay, so is there any opposition to the motion in the second? Seeing none, so moved and so ordered, Madam City Clerk. Go ahead. There was a motion and a second, unanimously agreed to send it back to the Planning Commission.
Hubo otro movimiento para continuar o para regresar este proyecto hacia la comisión para considerar este proyecto de nuevo a un tiempo futuro.
Okay, so that ends that. We'll get on to our next item. Number 28. You got to stay for this. I got to take this off because I have to. There's a script. Hey, don't everybody leave. The party's not over. We still have business to do. You know what? I'm going to take a 1-minute break because I need a break. Go ahead. We are back in session. Item number 28, Madam City Clerk. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll start. I thought you were going to read the top. This is to consider adoption of a resolution authorizing the issuance of special tax bonds for Community Facilities District Number 43 Park Place facilities. Are there any blue cards received on this item or any discussion for the council? Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion. Motion to approve. Second by second by Bowman. First by her, second by we have to do a roll call vote.
Thank you. Mayor Leon?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Doris Parada? Yes. Councilmember Wapner? Councilmember Bowman?
Yes.
Councilmember Valencia?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, so item is passed. That concludes the proceedings for this evening concerning the issuance of special tax bonds for Ontario Community Facilities District Number 43 Park Place Facilities Phase 4. And with that, staff matters, Mr. Choa?
That's it.
Council matters, Deb, Ellen? No. Jim? Ruben? No. Okay, thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending or watching on TV. We appreciate your interest and hope to see you at our next regular meeting on Tuesday, July the 21st. I signed everything, Karen.
Looks like a bomb. Yeah, huh?
It did. There's enough blue slips here for